Hello students, myself Pooja Dhokre. Students, in our previous class we have already started our lesson number 10, that one, motion and measurement of distances. Okay, in that also we have studied about transportation, even measurement by foot, handspan and string also. So today we are going to learn about measurement of standard unit. Okay, so just open textbook, page number 99, standard units of measurement. See here students, here standard units of measurement. In ancient times, the length of a foot, the width of a finger and the distance of a step were commonly used as a different units of measurements. Just in previous class we have studied about it. The people of the Indus Valley civilization must have used very good measurements of length, because we see evidence in excavations of perfectly geometrical constructions. See students, in ancient time also they must have used a very good measurement. So we find it in our excavations. Okay. A cubit as a length from the elbow to the fingertips was used in ancient Egypt. So students, cubit as a length, that means from elbow to finger, they used to measure the length. Okay, in Egypt, and was also accepted as a unit of length in other parts of the world also. So this is used in other parts also, Which one? This elbow and the tip of a finger. This one is a cubit unit. Okay. In ancient time, Egypt has invented this, and this one has accepted in other parts of the world also. Now see here, people also use the foot as a unit of length in different parts of the world. The length of the foot used varied slightly from the region to region, isn't it? It is different. Now people measured a yard of a cloth by the distance between the end of the outstretched arm and their chin. So students, here people measured a yard of a cloth by the distance between the end of the outstretched arm and their chin, like this. Okay. The Romans measured with their pace or steps. Now students, this measurement is different from region to region or man to man. In ancient India, small length measurements used were an angul. Angul means finger, or mutti. Mutti means fist. See, this one is of angul and mutti means like this. Okay. Even today we can see flower sellers using their forearm as a unit of length for garlands in many towns of India. Even today also they used forearm. Okay. Many such body parts continue to be in use as unit of length when convenient. So as per their convenience, they use such a body parts for the measurement. However, everyone's body parts could be slightly different sizes. This must have caused confusion in measurement. In 1790, the French created a standard unit of measurement called the metric system. So students, in 1790, French has created standard unit. It is called the metric system. For the sake of uniformity, scientists all over the world have accepted a set of standard units of measurement. Just because of the uniformity, what scientists have accepted the standard units of measurement. The system of units now used is known as the International System of Units, that means SI units. The SI unit of length is a meter. A meter scale is known in CL, figure 10.6. In next page it is also shown is a 15 centimeter scale in your geometrical box. So students, here figure 10.6 you can see here. See, a meter scale and 15 centimeter scale. Okay. Now each meter means we can write M for it, is divided into 100 equal divisions called centimeter. So all of you know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. Very good students, that you have already studied in your math subject. Each centimeter has 10 equal divisions called 1 millimeter. So thus 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter and 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeter. For measuring large distances, meter is not a convenient unit. We define a larger unit of length, it is called kilometer. So for the measuring larger distances we use kilometer. That means 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meter. Now we can repeat all our measurement activities using a standard scale and measure in SI units. Before we do that, we need to know the correct way of measuring lengths and distances. So students, all these activities means 10.1 and 10.2 activity you can measure with a standard unit. So before that you need to know how to measure correctly. Okay. So students, here see here some common SI units are there. You can see base units for measurement, quantity, SI unit and symbol. Here length SI unit is meter and we can write it as a M. Mass we used kilogram and we can write as a kg. For time, second is there and the symbol is S. Electric current, ampere and A is the symbol. Temperature, Kelvin is the unit, K is the symbol. Amount of a substances, mole, symbol is a mole. Intensity of light, candela and we can write CD for it, and the frequency used, volume, liter and we can write is L. Here also weight, length and capacity placement is there. See, length 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeter, 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter, 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meter. And for weight, 1 gram is equal to 1000 milligram, 0.1 kilogram that means 100 grams, 1 kilogram is equal to 1000 grams and 1 ton is equal to 1000 kilograms. Again for the capacity, 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliters, 1 liter is equal to 100 centiliters. Again 1 centiliter is equal to 10 millimeters, 0.1 liter is equal to 100 milliliters. Even for imperial units, 1 pint is equal to 568 milliliter, 1 inch is equal to 2.5 centimeter or 25 millimeter and 1 foot is equal to 12 inches or 30 centimeter. For 1 mile we write 1.6 kilometer, 1 ounce 25 gram, 1 pound 500 gram. So these are the units, standard units. Okay. Now students, see in the textbook how to measure properly. We will see correct measurement of length. In our daily life we use various types of measuring devices. We use a meter scale. for measuring length. A tailor uses a tape, whereas a cloth merchant uses a meter rod. For measuring the length of an object, you must choose a suitable device. So for that, you must know the suitable device to how to measure it with the help of the material. You cannot measure the girth of a tree or the size of your chest using a meter scale. Can you measure it with the meter scale? No. For instant measuring, tape is more suitable for this. So for the instant measuring, tape is more suitable. For small measurements such as the length of your pencil, you can use a 15 centimeter scale from your geometric box. So all of you have the scale, isn't it? So you can measure it with the help of a pencil, with the help of a scale. But you can't measure the tree with the help of your scale. So for that, tape is more suitable. In taking measurement of a length, we need to take care of the following. So here are some points that will tell us how to measure properly. Place the scale in contact with the object along its length as shown in figure 10.7. See here. Place the scale properly. Okay. And in some scales, the ends may be broken. Maybe your scales have been broken, so you may not be able to see the zero mark clearly. See here in the 10.8. Okay, so in such cases you should avoid taking measurements from the zero mark of the scale. You can use any other full mark of the scale. Okay, just as 1.0 centimeter. Then you must subtract the reading of the mark from the reading at the other end. That means if you have started from 1 centimeter and you have ended with 10, suppose you have ended with the 13 or 14 centimeter, then you must subtract the reading of the mark from the reading at the other end. That means in the figure, the reading at one end is 1.0 centimeter and at the other end is 14.3 centimeter. Therefore, the length of the object is, just subtract 14.3 minus 1.0. So the length of the object is 13.3. So this may be happen when your scale may have been broken. Otherwise, you can take the measurement from 0. Okay, now correct position of the eye is also important. So your position of eye is also very important, students, for taking the measurement. Your eye must be exactly in front of the point where the measurement is to be taken. See in the figure 10.9, see here, these are the different positions of the eye, isn't it? So as per the position, your reading must be different. For that, the correct position of the eye is also very important, students. Now, see here, position B is the correct position of the eye. Note that from the position B, the reading is 7.5 centimeter. From position A and C, the readings may be different. See, this position B is very correct position. And position A and C are the different, so the answer also different. Now here they have given us activity 3. What is this? See here. Measure the height of your classmate using the handspan and then by using a meter scale. For this, ask your classmate to stand with his back against a wall. So allow her to stand that his back is against to a wall. Make a mark on the wall exactly above his head. That means tell your friend to stand like this and mark here. Okay, like this. So students, now measure the distance from the floor to the mark on the wall with your hand span, then with a meter scale. Let all other students measure this length in a similar way. Record all the observations. See students, here they have given us a chart and they have told us to measure the height of your friend with using the hand span also and meter scale also. So here in the chart, write the name who measured the height. So here your friend's name will become and height in hand span. Here height in centimeter. So students, study carefully results obtained by different students. The results in column 2 may be different from each other, isn't it? Because the hand span may be different for different students. So look at the results in column 3, where the measurements are done using a standard scale. The result may be close to each other now, but are they exactly equal? If not, why do you think there is a difference? After all, everybody is using the same scale and not different hand spans also. Then also this difference is also, answer is also different. Why? This could be due to small errors in taking observations. In higher classes, we will learn about the importance of knowing and handling such errors in measurement. So students, here measuring the length of a curved line. Here we cannot measure the length of a curved line directly by using a meter scale, isn't it? So we can use a thread to measure the length of a curved line. How to measure it? See here they have given activity 4. Use a thread to measure the length of the curved line AB. Put a knot on the thread near one of its end. Okay, like this. See, you can see here. Now place a small portion of the thread along the line, keeping it taut using your fingers and thumbs. Hold the thread at this end point with one hand. Using the other hand, stretch a little more portion of the thread along the curved line. So students, here in this way you can measure the curved line distance with the help of a string. Okay. So on repeating this process till the other end B of the curved line is reached, make a mark on the thread where it touches the end B. Now stretch the thread along a meter scale. Measure the length between the knot in the beginning and the final mark on the thread. This gives the length of the curved line AB. So in this way you can measure the curved line distance with the help of a string. We see that we need a lot of care to ensure that we are measuring distances and lengths correctly. So students, here while using with the help of a string, we need a lot of care to measure the distance, and we need some standard units and divides with which we measure these distances and can convey our results to others. Because in this also, when we will use the string to measure, it may be also different. Okay, for that we need a standard distance, standard measurement. Okay, now moving things around us. Here think of some objects you have seen recently. So students, just think about the objects. Okay, list them in table 10.4. These may include a school bag, a mosquito, a table, people sitting on chairs or people moving about. The list may also have a butterfly, a dog, a cow, your hands, a small baby, a fish in water, a house, a factory, a piece of stone, a horse, a ball, a bat, a moving train, a sewing machine, a wall clock, or the hands of a clock. Make your list as large as you can. Okay. So students, here just write the objects that you have seen recently in your surrounding. Which of these are moving and which are at rest? So like this you have to make the table. House will come in a object at rest, and in objects in motion a flying bird. Can table fly? No. So it will come in a rest column. Even the seconds hands of the clock, so they move from time to time, that's why they will come in motions column. Is a clock can move from place to place? No. So it will come in a rest object. Now students, how do you decide whether an object is in motion or at rest? How do you decide it? You might have noticed that the bird is not at the same place. After some time, while the table is at the same place, on this basis you may have decided whether an object is at rest or in motion, isn't it? So let us look at the motion of an ant closely. So students, here is activity 6. Select a place where you find ants. Okay, just select the place where you find the ants. Spread a large sheet of a white paper on the ground and keep a little sugar on it. So for that what you do, near the ants you just place the white paper and spread the little some amount of a sugar on it. Ants are likely to be attracted to the sugar, and you will find many ants crawling on the sheet paper soon. For any one ant, try and make a small mark with a pencil near its position when it had just crawled on the sheet of the paper. So just what you do, just make a mark that where the ants were. Okay, now keep marking its position after few seconds as it moves along on the sheet paper. So keep marking. Okay, after some time shake the paper free of the sugar and the ants. So after some times shake the paper and free it from the sugar also and ants also. Now connect the different points you have marked with arrows to show the direction in which the ant was. So here like this, connect it. Okay, see movement of an ant, you can see. Now moving each point you have marked shows where the ant moved to in intervals of few seconds. Okay, so these marks tells us that how the ant moves. Okay, motion seems to be some kind of a change in the position of an object with time, isn't it? So in activity 5, where do you place objects like a clock, sewing machine or an electric fan in your grouping of objects? Are these objects moving from one place to another? No. Then do you notice movement in any of their parts? The blades of the fan or the hands of a clock, how are they moving? Is their movement similar to that of an ant or a train? So for that, let us now look at some types of motion to help us understand these differences. Okay, for that we will see types of motion. See here, motion and types of motion. What is motion? See here students, an object is said to be in motion if it changes its position with respect to its surrounding in given time. Okay, motion is always observed and measured with a point of references. Now all living things show motion, whereas non-living things show motion only when some force is acting on it. Okay, so just Remember it, all living things show motion, whereas non-living things show motion but only when some force is acting on it. So all of you have understood what is meant by motion. Okay, now we'll see next point here. What does it mean to say that motion is relative? All objects in the universe move. We can only discuss the motion of something as compared to something else. But this something else is also in motion. Example, walking down the SL of a bus that is driving down a street. Isn't it? Now see here types of a motion. See, rectilinear motion, circular motion and periodic motion. Okay. So these are the three types of motion given in this topic. So first one, rectilinear motion. The objects move along a straight line. It's called the rectilinear motion. Here example of that, motion of a vehicle on a straight road. See here, motion of a vehicle on a straight road and march past of soldiers in a parade. So students, what is meant by rectilinear motion? The objects move along a straight line. It's called the rectilinear motion, and here are the examples also. See, motion in a straight line, running or driving in one direction. Okay, so objects move along a straight line. This type of a motion is called rectilinear motion. See, an apple falling from a tree, pushing of a box, march past by student on straight path. Here. So next point, circular motion. See students, here are the examples of circular motion. In textbook you can see here, take a stone, tie a thread to it and run it with your hand. Observe the motion of the stone. We see that the stone moves along a circular path. In this motion, the distance of a stone from your hand remains the same. This type of motion is called circular motion. So here some objects in circular motion, you can see it here, figure A, B, C. The motion of a point marked on the blade of an electric fan or the hands of a clock are examples of circular motion. The electric fan or the clock by themselves are not moving from one place to another, but the blades of the fan rotate and so do the hands of a clock also. If we mark a point anywhere on the blades of a fan or on the hands of a clock, the distance of this point from the center of the fan or the clock will remain the same as they rotate. Okay. In some cases, an object repeats its motion after some time. This type of motion is called periodic motion. So see here are the examples of circular motion. See, even sun and planets, earth and moon, atom and electrons, circular track, circular ride, these are the examples of circular motion. Now periodic motion. When the same motion repeats itself after equal intervals of time, we call it periodic motion. Here, the motion which repeats itself after fixed time intervals is called periodic motion. The best example of periodic motion are the pendulum clock. So, students, in this way, today we have learned about types of motion, even how to measure the objects also. So, students, all of you understood the types of a motion? Okay, so how many types of motions are here? 3. Rectilinear, circular and periodic. So in this lesson we have studied about motion, types of a motion, even the standard unit of measurement also. So students, learn the lesson very well, read it carefully. Okay, thank you students.